Recently I did a tutorial on how to print out proof pictures using Photoshop. Now I've got many requests to do the same thing using Proshow Gold to show how we can use Proshow Gold to make a paperless proof system. Now this is great because it means you don't have to print anything out and you can give your clients a copy of all the proof pictures in a self-contained CD. They can't get to the pictures, they can't get them out, but they can watch them sliding through on the screen. So here's how we do it. Now I've got Proshow Gold already running and I'm going to set up a new show. So let's click the new button. And in the new show box, it's important to fill in a little bit of information to get things prepared. I'm going to give it a name. It's optional, but it's a good practice to get into. So we'll call it Proof Images. But the most important thing is to set the aspect ratio now, because is this going to end up as a TV show or is it going to end up as a computer one? Now, I prefer to put mine on computer CDs, so I'm going to go with the custom setting and then put the resolution of 800 by 600. That covers most people's computer screens. And click OK. Now we need to add the pictures into our proof slideshow. So I've already sorted out the pictures all together in one big folder and I've given them titles as well. So I'm going to click the first one on my folder and scroll down to the last one, hold the Shift button and click the last one so they all become selected. Now I'm just going to drag those down and drop them into the slideshow onto the slide list. Now it takes just a few seconds to add those in. There we go, and now we have a complete list starting at the beginning and working through. Now you can see the importance of naming your files or keeping a naming system that works because it puts them in sequence as well. So we've got to think about how long these slides are going to stay on the screen for, because the default setting is 3 seconds for the slide and 3 seconds to fade to the next one. Now I find that just a little bit wrong for a slideshow. It doesn't feel right. So let's click on our first slide on the list here, then down to the keyboard and press Ctrl and A so all of the slides in the slide list become highlighted. Now we can change some settings. So let's change the duration. I'd like the slides to stay on screen for 5 seconds rather than 3 seconds. And if I click on the fade, I'd like them to fade in just 1 second. So it's a nice swift change from one slide to another, and the slide stays on the screen long enough for it to be appreciated, but not so long as it becomes a bit boring. Okay, so we need to put some words on the screen as well, because it's no point just having the pictures. The client's got to know what picture they're looking at. So let's click the Options button up the top. And on the show options, we'll make sure we click on the show captions and we can start adding some captions in. Now the first one I'm going to add in is actually a copyright, because I'd like to put a copyright logo along the bottom of every image so that the client is aware that the copyright of these pictures belong to me and they can't and shouldn't go around copying them without permission. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we click in the selected caption box up here. And I'm going to put a copyright logo. That's the C inside of a circle. And you type that in by holding the Alt button, the ALT button, and on your keyboard typing 0169. And the little copyright logo pops up. Then a space, and I'm going to put in Gavin Hoey Photography. Like that. And then I'm just going to drag that down to the bottom somewhere so it's on the screen but it's not completely in the way. Okay, let's add another bit of text in as well. We'll click the plus button up here, the big green plus button, and we can add in something else. Now I'm going to add in the file names so those appear on the screen at the same time as the images. And to put file names on needs a little bit more thinking about. What you need to do is to put \F for file. Now that's the first problem, is the backslash, because there are 2 slashes on your keyboard, one's forward and one's back, but which is which? Well, the backslash is that one which leans towards the left, and you'll find it on your keyboard in the bottom left hand end of your keyboard. It's normally around about the Z key in that side of the keyboard. So \F. Okay, and we'll drag that up because it's right down the bottom, so it's right at the top, and click Done. Okay, so that's added the captions in, and if I click into my slideshow, you can see we now have the name appeared and also my little copyright logo along the bottom. Okay, and that should play through quite nicely as we go through the slideshow like that. Lovely. So the copyright logo stays there even on the transitions because it appears on every slide in exactly the same place. Okay, we'll just stop that and we'll add in some audio as well. Now I've already sorted out an audio track, which is this one, and we'll just drag it down onto the audio track right underneath the slide list. Let's try that again and actually try and get it in one go. Down there we go. So that's added in some suitable music to go with our slideshow. Now, trouble is, of course, the music and the slideshow aren't going to be the same duration. So if I get to the end of my slideshow and I just play the last few seconds, boom, it just stops. And that's not good. It's got to fade out a little bit more smoothly. So let's just sort out the fading at the end. Double click on the waveform on your soundtrack and you'll get back to the show options and you'll find you're on the soundtrack tab. Now, to make this fade out towards the end, I'm just going to get the fade out button here and just slide it all the way to the right hand side. So we have a 10-second fade out. Okay, and we'll just click play. And you can see it just fades out. But I'd like the final fade to be a little bit slower. So rather than having a 1 second fade, I'm going to click in here. In fact, I'm going to make sure before I do that I click the main slide because everything was active there. They were all blue. Then click the last fade and let's just put it in for 5 seconds rather than 1. So now it fades and the music fades slower as well. So you have a nice gentle change to the end of your slideshow. Okay, so that's the basic show made. Let's output it onto a CD. Now to do that, I'm going to click the Create Output button and it gives me some choices. What do I want to make? Well, I want to make an auto-run CD. Okay, so you put the CD in your computer, you click, well, you don't click anything, it just starts. So let's go back to the top button, the menus on our CD. Now I'm not going to have any menus, I'm going to keep it really simple. Then I'm going to click the shows button because it should be just the one show. If you need to add in extra shows, there's plus down here. Remember, if you're doing a wedding and you've got hundreds of pictures, you probably don't want one show that has hundreds. You maybe want one that has 50. So you can add in extra shows as you go along. But the thing to take off is this orange sign that pops up every time you start it. I'm just going to untick that so there won't be any intro show. It'll just start straight away. Output options are where it gets important because we need to make an executable file, which we have here, and we need to make it of a certain size. Now, right at the beginning, we said it was going to be 800 by 600, so that's the dimensions we'll put into that window. Now, if you want it to start as a maximized slideshow, in other words, you want it to fill the screen, then have the tick here where it says maximized. I'm going to limit the slideshow usage to 800 by 600, so it'll fill the screen, but it'll have black in the extra areas. And then just to be on the safe side, I'm going to make sure that everything gets sized down on the quality and performance settings to 800 by 600 as well. So we'll change all those boxes. The image size will leave, the image quality will leave at 85%, and everything else will leave at medium. And then all you need to do is just click Create. And that'll make a auto-run CD that you can then give to your clients and they'll be able to keep it forever.